Dynamo Nation, what's going on? My name is James. Thank you for being with me on this episode today. If you're new to the channel, new to Dynamo Nation, welcome. I appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribed, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Definitely helps out the channel, helps me pump out more Dynasty content like this. We are closing in on 500 subs. And what that means is it's going to open up the community channel, community tab. It's going to allow for a lot more engagement from me to you. Let's get there. If you're not subscribed, still watching the videos, hit that subscribe button. Let's make that push. With that said, today's episode is a big one, Dynamo Nation. You guys asked for this, I listened, and I've delivered. This is a follow-up to our RB trade strategy video from a few weeks back. We only had 2 seasons of data that we covered there. I listened to Dynamo Nation. You guys wanted more of a sample size. Well, I am giving you 10 seasons of data to go through and let's look at. So I'm going to throw our first table up. You guys can see where this data came from and how the scoring was formatted. We can all see this is a PPR format. That's how the scoring is. 1 point PPR. We're looking at 1 point for every 10 receiving yards, 6 points per receiving or for each receiving touchdown, and then 6 points for every rushing touchdown and 1 point for every 10 rushing yards. So what I've done is I've broken this data down into 2 segments, okay? 2 5-year segments from 2012 to 2016 and 2017 to 2021. What I've noticed in Dynasty football, fantasy football, there has been a shift in terms of running backs and at what age they stop producing. Okay, 2017 through 2021 has 100% confirmed that theory of mine. These results are going to be shocking, so let's get to them. You guys can take a look. Our first table here is going to show us top 5 running back finishes for 2012 through 2016. You know, we can see running backs 27 and older in this time frame finished as a top 5 RB 40% of the time, very high. 26 and younger was at 60%. And then our target age was between ages of 26 and 28. That was a 48% finish for that age range, right? So when we look at this data, what it means for us is running backs at this point, 2012 to 2016, were still producing pretty highly later into their 20s, mid to late 20s. They were still very, very productive. You know, we're looking at a 48% share between the ages of 26 and 28 in terms of finishing as a top 5 RB. Those are great numbers. So we can see running backs were still very productive at this point, finishing in the top 5. All right. When you fast forward and we look at our next graph here, 2017 through 2021, things have changed, and they have changed drastically. Let's throw that up. We can take a look at it. You guys can all see right away, and I mean right away, the age gap has shifted tremendously. We went from 26 to 28 being the age range. Now 23 to 25 is going to be our target age for top 5 running backs. Running backs 26 and younger in the last 5 seasons have finished in the top 5 100% of the time. 100% of the time, RBs 26 and younger have finished in the top 5 in this scoring format. I want you to think about that. That 100% confirms our last video, and if you did not watch that, I will link it down below. What that means to us is we are trading our top 5 running backs, it's confirming it, after the age of 25 season. They have that age 26 season, and then it drops off. And I'm not saying we're giving these players away for free. You can't misunderstand that. We are maximizing trade value, which means we might be trading for another RB1, but a younger RB1 that's going to ascend into a top 5 status. That's how we're going to play this. But it's the data is clear. 2 seasons, yeah, I can get with you guys. Maybe that wasn't enough of a sample, but we're looking at 5 seasons. This is 100% a trend that has developed. 26 is the cutoff. We're not going to take them to that 26 age season. What do I keep preaching? Trade 1 year. We would rather trade a player too early than too late. We will give up 1 extra year of production if it means we're going to maximize our return. Age 25, after that season, if it's a top 5 back, you need to be moving on. Okay, that's what the data is saying to us. But on top of this, I wanted to do a little bit deeper of a dig for everybody. And we're going to look at where we get these top 5 running backs. Okay, where are they drafted at in the NFL? I found this to be interesting. Let's take a look. You know, so for our top 5 RBs, 19 out of 50, okay, come in the first round. 14 out of 50 were second-round picks. The surprising number here was that undrafted player. Undrafted running backs had the fourth highest hit rate. You know, they had just as much of a chance as 4th and 5th round picks combined. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks combined. But we can see 42 out of the top 50 in these finishes were at least a 3rd round pick in the NFL. So we can see 100% top 5 picks, draft capital matters. Once you get past that third round, it's a crapshoot. But undrafted players have been known to produce and produce highly. So I found that to be very interesting. And we're going to break this down for each tier that we have here. We've got our top 5. We've got our RB1 finish, RB2, and RB3. Speaking of RB1, let's get right into it. And again, we're going to start with the 2012 through 2016 table. We all can take a look at it together. Again, these numbers are not surprising. They're kind of running parallel with the top 5 finish from 2012 to 2016. You know, RB's age 27 and older made up 48% of all top 12 finishes at that point. 26 and younger was 52, so almost a 50-50 split. And we can see still, the target age to trade, 26 through 28, made up 36%. So, you know, we can see again, still 2012 to 2016, you still had a very good chance at having a successful RB1 that was an older running back, 26, 27, 28. You know, and this table had the widest range of them all. Every age was represented here except for age 34. So there was still a lot of value to be had. And I know we may have this mindset, we may still be stuck in this mindset that running backs can still produce. Maybe that was the case 10 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. But is it the case now? Let's take a look at RB1 finishes from 2017 through 2021. Let's see. Let's throw that up. We can see RB1 finishes. Things, again, have drastically changed. You know, that target age went from 26 to 28, and it's now down to 24 to 26. And that makes up 45% of this entire pie. You know, RB's 26 and younger made up 79% of all top 12 finishes. 27 and older went from 48 to 21%. You know, the data is showing us that after that age 26 season, it is a drop-off, a drastic drop-off. And we look at a couple of running backs this year, right? You look at an Austin Eckler, Leonard Fournette, 26 this season. I mean, this is your chance. These are the type of players. This is your chance to move on. James Conner, 26. This is your chance. Cash out. The data is showing us. Like, we can't ignore this stuff. 5 seasons is a long period of time in the NFL. All right? Just like our top 5, let's take a look and see where these top 12 RBs are coming from. Where are we finding these RB1s? And we can see it's kind of the same as those top 5. Vast majority are coming from those first 3 rounds, you know. We're looking at, 51 out of 70 were at least third-round picks. But again, undrafted players are making up 8 out of 70. That's the 4th highest hit rate, once again. It's more than 4th-round picks, and that's the same as 4th and 5th-round picks combined as our undrafted players. To me, that's saying something. Like, do we take this information into our own dynasty rookie drafts? You know, do we take a chance on running backs finishing in the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds of NFL picks? Like, are we going to draft them? Or would we rather just fade that out and target an undrafted player who lands in a great spot? I.e. James Robinson, Austin Eckler. You know, like, that's what we have to start thinking about. So when you look at our RB2s, last video, kind of the same deal. We were looking at age 27, about the age to trade our RB2s away. And again, 2012 through 2016, the data is showing us that they were still producing. Older RB2s were still producing. Okay, let's throw it up. We can see, you know, we're looking at 47% of all top 24 finishes were 27 and older in that age range, or in that time frame, 2012 to 2016. That's still almost half of running backs. And then only 53% were 26 and younger. The age range, again, 25 through 27, just like our last video kind of suggested, 47%. You know, and our smart money here would be to trade these running backs after their age 27 season. And the reason being for RB2s is their value is nowhere near what a top 5 or an RB1 is in football, right? So if their value is nowhere near what we're going to get back in a trade, then we're going to value production on the field versus what we're going to get back in a deal. Okay, and this is a strategy, not just if you're rebuilding, this is a strategy to employ in a dynasty period. This is how we continue to roll that ball down the field. Kick that can, kick it down the road. Let's keep making these teams 100% competitive as we go along. Like, ideally, you never have to rebuild. You know, you're just constantly retooling. And that's what this data can help us do, okay? So we've seen here what our RB2 finishes were from 2012 through 2016. Now let's take a look at 2017 through 2021. Let's see if the data is suggesting younger running backs. All right, so we can see, putting this up on the screen, when we look at our RBs, our RB2s in 2017 through 2021, 26% are 27 and older, top 24 finishes. That's down from 47% in that first bracket. Our age 26 and younger made up 74% of all top 24 finishes. That's up from 53%. And then our target age also decreased from 25 through 27 to 22 to 24. That was 48% of all production, 22 to 24. So this data means to us is we're still looking to cash out after that age 26 season, right? Because there is a huge drop off. Like it goes from, once you hit 27, the chances of you producing as an RB2 clip, it goes down significantly. So we're still looking to cash out after that age 26 season, but the data is showing us running backs are producing at a younger age. They're producing quicker. They're producing more. Older running backs are being phased out. That's what this is telling us. Again, we cannot ignore this. This is 5 seasons of data. All right. Let's see where we're getting our RB2s at. Is it the same as our RB1s or our top 5s? Let's take a look. We can see our RB2s are a little bit more spread out, surprisingly. You know, rounds 2 and 3 actually make up the bulk of this. 49 out of 120 RB2 finishes since 2012 landed in the second and third round. What's surprising here? The undrafted running back is not going away. First round picks and undrafted running backs are almost equal. First round picks were 19 out of 120 and undrafted running backs were 18 out of 120 for this tier. I don't know if that's surprising to you. It was definitely surprising to me to see undrafted running backs consistently being at the top of this list in terms of where we're getting these players at was definitely shocking. But for our RB2s, the fact that it's almost as equal as RB1s, that was nuts to me. You know, I did not expect to see that. That's probably been the most shocking. I kind of knew going in, like the shift that's happened. And that's why I made that initial video. This is stuff that I've been noticing. So I kind of knew the shift was already there in terms of the younger running backs. But the most surprising thing to me so far has been the amount of undrafted running backs that are finishing in the top 12, 24, 36 for running backs. So speaking of RB3s, let's take a look and see how our RB3s are doing between 2012 and 2016. Let's see if that data continues. So we can see RB3s in 2012 to 2016. The target age for them was kind of interesting. You know, it was still pretty young. It was 24 through 26. That was 49% of production. RBs 26 and younger made up 70% of all production. And then RBs 27 and older made up 30% of the top 36 finishes. So again, even in the early stages of doing this, the 2012 to 2016, we're looking at younger running backs, right? Younger running backs were already at that point starting to outproduce veteran running backs. It was a 70-30 split. This was the one tier that stayed consistent from 2012 through 2021. All right, so let's throw the next one up. We all can see these last 5 seasons, RB3s, you know, top 36, the age range, our target 23 to 25, right? Just a little bit different from our first bracket from 24 to 26. And then 26 and younger made up 72% of all top 36 finishes, right? That was from 70 from before. And then 28% were 27 and older. That was down from 30%. So this bracket really stayed the same. Our RB3s, top 36 finishes, really stayed the same. Younger running backs, you know, 26 and younger, that's where the meat of it's going to be at. And again, these are most likely handcuffs. They could be players that have been drafted high that are sitting behind a vet that are now stuck in a change of pace role. Whatever the situation may be, that's what these RBs are. And these are running backs to target. These are the guys that ascend, right? Those top 5 backs, like we talked about before, they are so out of reach in terms of value. If we don't draft them, we're not trading for them. There's no point in burning all those resources because they burn out fast. Focus on these RB3s, these young RB3s that have some draft capital. And speaking of, let's see where we're getting these RB3s at, all right? RB3s in these 10 seasons. Again, spread out for the most part, but 83 out of 120 since 2012 were at least 4th round picks. Okay. But once again, the exception, undrafted running backs make up 21 out of 120. This was the 3rd highest hit rate out of all running backs. For RB3s, came as undrafted players. So when we're looking at this stuff, this is very interesting to me. This is new information for me. I'm excited about this. This is going to give me stuff to take back to my leagues that I'm going to test out 100%. 100% I am going to test out moving forward. And the data that's most surprising to me is the undrafted running back. The fact that they show up as consistent as they do, as often as they do, and they're spread out. It's not like it was just a cluster of a year here, year there. It's pretty evenly distributed over 10 seasons. We have to stop ignoring undrafted running backs in our leagues, our dynasty leagues. There's value there. We have to be able to identify these players. There's been some big boys that have come off this list that have hit and hit big. Austin Eckler being the biggest. That's the main thing I'm taking away from this. I'm still sticking to my guns. Top 5 running backs at the age of 25, they're gone. We're not keeping them past the age of 25. And like I said before, I'll say it again, we are not trading for a top 5 running back. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds, contradictory, whatever it might be. It's going to cost us too much. And their shelf life is so small. They burn out quick. You're going to get 3, maybe 4 seasons out of them. Right? And by the time you trade for one, they're probably 2-3 years into it. And someone's trying to offload and just maximize their trade value. We are not trading for top 5 backs. It makes no sense. We're trading them away when they hit 25. If we don't draft them, we're not getting them. Focus on those RB1s, those back-end RB1s, early RB2s, the front-end RB2s. That's what we should focus on. Build the meat of those teams based on that. And then target the RB3s. These young RB3s are the players who ascend into RB2s and 1s and top 5s. Right? Focus on that. And then looking at the draft capital that's been invested in these players, this is going to give us a great, great sample for our rookie drafts. Me personally, I don't know about you guys, but looking at this, if a running back's taken in the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds of the NFL draft, there's a really good chance I'm not touching them after doing this exercise. I'm going to focus more on undrafted. Obviously, rounds 1 through 3 is where the meat of it's going to be at. Round 4 is kind of hit. Round 4, you might be able to pull, an RB3 out of it. Most likely, maybe an RB2. But to get an RB1 or a top 5, it's not likely. Maybe Michael Carter will be the exception. He was a 4th round pick this year. But just based on what we're looking at, based on the data, rounds 1 through 3, that's where we're going to target. Completely ignore running backs drafted rounds 5 through 7. I'm not even messing with that. And then take an extra look at those undrafted running backs. They keep popping up. There's a reason why they keep popping up. They keep landing in great situations. They're overlooked. They come in, they take someone's job, and then it's lights out for a few seasons. That's what's happening. So if you enjoy this kind of content, if you enjoy looking at data like this, please hit that subscribe button. This video was a labor of love. This took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy to gather this much data, put it in through 10 seasons, and then, kind of get this out to you guys. And I wanted to have this done at the end of the season. As we're going into the off season, trades are getting ready to open back up in dynasty leagues. If you're still playing, congratulations. I hope you win it. I won my one main league. I'm excited about that. This is my 4th title in 6 seasons, 7 seasons, something like that. 4 to 6, 4 to 7, one of the two. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later, Dynamo Nation. Stay safe.